How was your weekend?
Was good. How was yours?
Not too bad. Got to see family for Easter, low
You
key,
go.
but you know, nice.
Nice. Yeah, we did. We had a pro wrestling revolver in Dayton, Ohio, and then we had Squirt Circle Expo for Friday, Saturday, and then we came home yesterday for Easter. Had some friends over and had some Italian dinner, so it was nice.
Very nice. Have you ever wrestled on Easter?
No, I have not.
I feel like might be fun.
Might be.
Might be. I don't know. You do Thanksgiving. Impact has the turkey suit and
Yeah,
Christmas. Maybe one year we'll get Easter. I don't know whether
maybe
it's
one.
taped or live. But I feel like that's an untapped holiday.
Yeah, it's one of those holidays. I think as I get older now, is one of like the ones that's celebrated more now. Like I don't know. As a kid, it was just about eggs and baskets. Now I'm just like, oh, we'll just eat dinner.
I'm right there with you. It's all about the dinner. My kids pulled up to my mom's table. She's like, my oldest was like, yeah, this is almost as good as Thanksgiving. I was like, yeah, we do food right.
Thanksgiving's dropped on my list. I can care less for Thanksgiving now.
Why?
I don't know. I'd rather have Christmas. Just I don't know.
Okay.
Thanksgiving, I'm like it's whatever. It's during the week. We got married the week before this year, and then we're on a honeymoon. So it was kind of nice to have sushi in Jamaica on Thanksgiving. So it was nice.
Okay. So Impact Rebellion's coming up. We spoke a few months ago. I said you would be in this match. It felt like destiny. A couple of, couple of things kind of got thrown in the mix, but Kushida is your opponent. How are you feeling now that it's match week? How are you approaching this? Even though,
Good. It's one of those things where I've been telling everybody it could have been Kushida all along as well. Him and Josh were wrestling at Multiverse. You didn't know who was going to come out of that one, and obviously with Kushida holding on to the hoverboard lock on Josh for that long while, it was the Battle of the Valley. Obviously, probably aided in tearing his triceps, so we don't know. But what can you do? Mission stays the same: become the Impact World Champion for me. But the opponent's different. So I've been prepping for that, and I got to witness it firsthand at Sacrifice with Kushida. I know a lot of people say that I tapped out, but I did it willingly, and I expressed that the other night. And I know everybody's trying to express to me that I tapped out, but I'm trying to tell you again, I did it on purpose just because why would I be a prideful idiot when nothing is on the line when I can go into Impact Rebellion 100% for the world title?
I respect the strategy. And more to the point, I feel like maybe some people aren't giving Kushida as much credit as they deserve. Like I already said, I thought months ago that this was going to be you and Josh, but Kushida comes in and I'm familiar with his work in Japan and elsewhere. I don't think people realize like how good he really is. Like, what have you seen out of him in the past? And you just kind of mentioned one result running into him, but what have you seen out of him in the past few months that really excites you about this getting a one-on-one match at Rebellion?
He's kind of showing a little bit of a mean streak on his side, a little bit, kind of more aggressive than I think we've seen. You kind of saw that with Leo Rush at Multiverse, and you even saw that with Josh with him holding on to the hoverboard. So I know he's got a chip on his shoulder as well, and he has a lot to prove because he's getting his shot at the Impact World Title, and it's not just a big match for me; it's a big match for him as well. And I don't think people realize that. But for both of us, it's a lot of eyes on us as well from New Japan and from Impact with that working relationship there now. And that opens another door possibly when I do beat Kushida at Rebellion that New Japan can become knocking at any time or challengers can come from that side of the door compared to Impact. And it's one of those things where there's a lot on the line in this match for both of us.
Yeah, that famous door opens up a world of possibilities, not just, like you said, not just for whoever wins, but whoever wants to come over and challenge. Maybe you go over there. It's putting the world in Impact World Championship. I think it's exciting, for whatever happens after this week.
Yeah, and for me, it's putting the world on notice too. And I've done it for the past 2 years where I've kind of come in, and I know Josh said it the other night where I kicked down the door, but I feel like I've breached down that door for the opportunities that I've been given, and I've taken the ball and running with it and not looking back. And that's kind of what's led me to the Impact World title, of beating all the former world champions that I have, and beating Chris Sabin and Jay White on the same night last year at Rebellion. And that's one of those things where I have a chip on my shoulder as well, but it's also that door is going to be breached again now when I'm walking out of Rebellion as the Impact World Champion. It's a different look, and people are going to realize that I'm one of the best in the game.
All right, so you're obviously confident going into the match. I'm going to ask this question as if you are Impact World Champion. You already have it in your head. What's your first order of business? What's your first action as champion?
I'm gonna put the world on notice. Whatever I say, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel after I win, and even the possibility of their losing is there too. I know that, but to go in confidently, why wouldn't I? It's the biggest match of my career. Why would I go in with doubt? But I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I'm gonna be very excited, probably very emotional on the inside as well, of having this moment of being the Impact World Champion. Lack of a better term, not be forgotten no more, and have a reason to be remembered. So it's one of those things where I'm just going to feel it out the next week on TV, or maybe even that night say something. So we'll see. But any and all comers that want to challenge me for the Impact World title when I am the champion, please.
You've obviously embraced, you kind of just said forgotten no more, but when we spoke, you said, you've always been a somebody, sort of carried yourself as a somebody. So I think with a win, more people are going to see that. But not only would a world title win be an accolade for you, but it's also, you look at your history, you came from the Monster Factory. That's another world champion coming from the Monster Factory. Can you talk a little bit about how going through that school has prepared you for this moment?
I would say it's just the time frame that I was going to now, especially with the Monster Factory and Apple TV's new show, having the reality show. I'm so happy for them with that. And it's a different animal there now, a different monster, as you could say. The strategy still stays the same, though. You learn from the ground up and you learn the basics. And I try to tell people that all the time when I always get asked, oh, what's the comparison between military and pro wrestling? And it's just knowing the basics and fundamentals is what you rely on when things go awry or things happen in the ring we don't expect to happen, and you just rely on your own fundamentals. And that's what I was taught, and that was just ingrained in me at the Monster Factory, of knowing how to be a professional and to carry myself, and to not have the ego, but have an ego where it's not so outgoing where you're an asshole. But you just have that cockiness and arrogance once you step through that curtain. But once you're back through that curtain, it's all professionalism and it's doing good business.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that. And, nothing but a compliment, but Danny certainly communicates that.
Yeah, Danny is very. That's the one thing a lot of people don't realize. Like Danny, he's loud mouth, and he says what's on his mind, and he speaks from the heart in that way. Sometimes it may come off aggressive or this, but like whatever he says, he means from the heart, and that's what I love about him, because he never just holds it in; he just lets it out. And if he has a true, honest opinion, he tells you. And that's the one thing that I took away from my time there, and still even how now when we chat here and there. And we were chatting the other day for him to possibly fly up to Toronto. I was like, just stay home and watch. Don't worry about the trip. I appreciate the thought, but just stay home, watch with the kids at the school, and we'll see how it goes. So
6 episodes, about a half hour each. It's on Apple TV. I really enjoyed it. I hope more people check it out. So there's my quick plug right there.
Thank you for plugging it for me.
You obviously embraced the Punisher in your look over time. And I don't want to, spoil it too much if you do have plans, but any plans for any Punisher like stuff coming up to, sort of add to your character in any way?
Possibly. I've now started to kind of hone in of where I wanted to take from the Punisher and even Captain America, and taking those inklings that relate to me and build into myself. And now it's kind of, I'm dialing more into me than anything now. I do have gear planned for a new jacket and themed gear that's going into Rebellion, which I'll wear for a while from now on, which I have a lot of meaning into it, which I'm looking forward to. especially towards my military background, especially with my buddies in 2-8, and I think that'll be appreciated a little bit more as well. But for the Punisher side, it's just I don't know. I take here and there when I want, and we see how it works. I just try to be me as much as possible.
You mentioned Captain America. I pointed. You got the framed photo
Yeah,
behind you. Uh,
got a bunch here.
is that a character you'd maybe like to tap into, or is there another superhero or villain, whatever? Like, is there a character that you'd like to tap into more, maybe under the right circumstances, because it doesn't fit what you're doing now, but maybe you have an idea like, hey, I'd really like to sort of pull from that more in the future?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I try to take from what I see, like in a movie or just out of a comic book, and it's just I don't try to be that person. I just try to take that little bit of a trait, and more of the Captain America side is like the nomad side of him, where he's not good, he's not bad, but he's doing what he feels is right, and that's I think everybody can relate to that, and what's relatable for me to find in a character. And that's just kind of how it is. Like even the Joker movie, like everybody, he's the biggest villain in the world, but there's a lot of relatable traits in that where like he's been there the whole time and he could have been just laying dead on the street and people would have walked by him and nobody would have cared. And I feel a lot of people can relate to that as well. And that's what kind of gets people like, oh my God, I can get behind this.
Mhm.
So those are the things I kind of try to look for in certain things. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see down the line.
All right.
I don't like to give all my secrets away.
So no red, white, and blue, no shield coming to the ring. It's
No.
more of the
The
character.
closest I got to a shield was a trash can lid in the barbed wire massacre match with Moose and Sammy.
Yeah.
So
More of the storytelling element, a character study you're interested in.
yes.
And I do agree with your assessment of Joker. I think people took it too literally, and you know, at I do it too much with a lot of superhero movies, but like it's about the emotional ride. Like if you take the supernatural or the superpowers out of it and you look at it from a stripped down perspective, it's about conflict and either overcoming it or embracing it or how you adapt to it. So I'm there with you as far as I enjoyed Joker.
Same. I'm looking forward to the next one. So
Absolutely. Thoughts on what, have you seen anything yet as far as Lady Gaga's makeup or?
I've just been seeing the photos that have been going online with it. It looks cool. I'm just curious. Just even like going into the last one, I try to like, keep an open mind now going into a lot of movies because like Marvel's kind of on the down with certain storylines. Like Ant-Man was okay. I thought it was just to more introduce Kang than anything. So it's just keeping an open mind towards that and trying to still go see John Wick at some point, the fourth one this week.
Dude.
Really good things, and I've tried to stay away from all the rumors on that. But yeah, just I don't know. I just open mind on everything nowadays, just because it's all about box office buy rates. Everybody's going for that, so it's just hard to find good movies. And Top Gun, the new Maverick, was probably one of the last movies I've seen in the theater. Like, holy shit, that was really good.
Yeah. John Wick 4, awesome. I went in with a clear mind, no spoilers. Uh, I thought 3 was very long and it kind
Okay.
of dragged out. I feel like they corrected everything I didn't like about 3. And
Okay.
it was just when you find time to see it, it's very good.
Good. All right. I'll take that in mind.
That's my spoiler-free review. Uh,
Thanks.
anything else you want to cover before we get out of here? We
No,
covered
just
quite a bit.
for anybody that's listening, for everybody that's listening, I should say, is tune into Rebellion, and then especially we have the Fallout the next day for the people that are there. Expect that crowd to be hot in Toronto, and Impact's just been on the rise. And I know a lot of people like to say we're the underdog company, and that's how we kind of work from top to bottom in that locker room. Everybody busts their ass, and I've been busting my ass the past 2 years to try to be the top guy there, and I'm getting to that point where I want to take that weight on my shoulders and show the world who I am, but also show the world who Impact Wrestling is and get it back to where it was years ago with getting back out on a prime channel. I know we're on Access TV, which is great. And if you don't have Access TV, you can watch us on YouTube. And then we also are on the Zone. Fight Network for Rebellion is going to be live, which is on Sunday, April 16th, live in Toronto, it's going to be a hell of a night from top to bottom. The card is like as always is going to be a show. You don't know who's going to steal the show. So
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Impact staying busy this year. You just named this weekend coming up. There's three different events, three different weekends in Chicago. They against all odds in Columbus. There's a stop in Atlanta coming up. So plenty of places coming up to see Impact Wrestling. But first and foremost, good luck this weekend, and future world champ Steve Maclin. I think, we established we're confident going into the weekend.
I'm
So
very confident in it. I know, like I said, I know there's the possibility of not winning, but why would I go into a match thinking I'm going to lose? But I know I have a tough task with Kushida ahead of me, but that's the match I'm looking forward to in a long time, where I get to fight for a world title, especially against one of the best in the world in Japan, and then also in the United States in Kushida.